Very good. Welcome all. Tonight we have our as guest speakers. Is Forrest here? Or who's?
Kirby.
Kirby. Kirby's going to speak. Okay. Kirby Williams will be speaking, as well as George Pritchett. We have a big issue coming before the city voters on a request for a petition on a change of government. And I'm going to turn this over to Denise, and she's our program chair, and she'll be moderating this section of the meeting.
Glad everyone could make it. I wanted to share the format with you a little bit. Is that you remember the last time that Pat was gone and I ran a meeting and we were here like half the night? Well, we want to avoid that. Okay, Pat said don't do that again, okay? So here, and because we as the Republican Party, our primary mission is to elect Republicans to public office, we really don't take a formal stance or try not to on issues. We let our individual members participate in whatever issues they wish to participate in and take whatever stand they wish to. But yet it is our responsibility to have an educated electorate. And so we try to include some sense of education with our programs at each meeting. The format for tonight, and the format has been shared with both the speakers that will be joining us, and I do want to add my thanks to both Kirby, and I think there are some other people guests here. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to George. I think Mr. Herman's here. Thank you for coming. We appreciate that a great deal. The format, I'll get back to the format, is that each speaker will have somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes. I'm probably going to alert you at 6 minutes that you have a minute left. And we feel like that you can probably articulate your position in that length of time. And then because of that, we will have some time at the end for a few questions from the audience if you'd like some clarification or a question. And I will allow both speakers to respond to each question. To do that, I am going to limit the responses to 2 minutes, and this was suggested by the speakers, so it's nothing that I necessarily made up. But I think we can have a lot of information communicated in that time limit and still get on with our business meeting. I would like to add probably to Pat is that we do, after a brief business meeting, you're welcome to leave or stay. But we do have a little social time where we just get together and visit. We would certainly love to have you join us if you'd like to. So we have, due to a flip of the coin, we're going to ask Kirby Williams if he'd come up and share information with us.
Okay, y'all will applaud now. You may not in a few minutes. We have in the campaign, the Against campaign on this proposition, we have 3 trained speakers in our speakers bureau. I'm not one of them. All 3 of them, some of you may know, there's a reception for a new Chamber of Commerce guy tonight, and all 3 of them were committed to being involved in that. So I got the short straw. I'm the campaign manager and have been involved for a while, and I'll try to present this in a methodical way. And Denise, I don't think I can even talk about my granddaughter for more than 5 minutes, so you don't have to worry about me running over, I don't think. I'll tell you my Republican pedigree, though. In 1968, my first political campaign that I worked on was I was a young Arkansan for Rockefeller. And the reason was, I think the reason that I, as a 14-year-old boy, and every other teenage boy that went up to Windrock Farms, was we got a free steak, and every good-looking girl in the state was there. So that was my first campaign. I moved to Hot Springs in 1980. I'm going to give you just a brief little bit of biography. I was moved here by Cecil Cupp to work for Arkansas Bank and Trust. And I've worked for myself here in Hot Springs since 1984 as primarily in bank marketing, as a consultant in bank marketing. I've been engaged as a volunteer or a consultant on several local initiatives, I was here recently, some of you may remember, with Dr. Carter about the NPCC issue, and Denise and Judge Davis, and I don't see Larry Griffin, but they can vouch for my work ethic, I think, from the jail campaign. We sure spent a lot of midnight oil on them. I'm an old journalist by training, and so I'm going to stick to the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, why. The who is the Save Our City Committee. It's a legally filed, citizen-funded committee. It's chaired by Mayor Ruth Carney, she is the honorary chairman. The co-chairs functionally are the president of 50 for the Future, Libby Vines, and the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, Steve Trusty. The organization and our efforts have been endorsed by over 500 people, 500 individuals, over 200 businesses, and about 25 organizations. We have a website that's againstgoingbackwards.com, and if you want to see who all those people are, you are welcome to visit there. What's this election about? An individual, not a city resident, apparently unhappy because reasons related to the extraterritorial jurisdiction instigated a petition drive. The Attorney General ruled that as few as a few over, I don't remember the exact number, a few more than 400 signatures, which was a small percentage of the voters in the District 6 board race in November, was sufficient to call a special election. The proposition is to make a complete change in the way our city government is managed, from a professional city manager and volunteer board of directors to elected mayor, paid mayor, assisted by 12 paid aldermen. We would also be required to elect a city attorney, city clerk, city treasurer, 16 elected officials altogether, as opposed to the 7 that we have now in the city. The special election starts next Tuesday. It's being paid for, it has to be paid for by the city. That expense is going to be, the election commission tells me, somewhere over $20,000. Who's supporting this change? Hard to tell. Mr. Herman, Mr. Pritchett, apparently, Mr. McGregor has been quoted in the newspapers. To the best of my knowledge, there has not been any kind of a legally formed and filed organization. I've not seen any literature or advertising with the required legal disclaimers, so I really can't tell you, that there is any organized opposition. The win is 1 week of early voting at the Election Commission, and which starts this coming Tuesday, and then a citywide election on Tuesday the 14th from 7:30 to 7:30, and there will be all 9 polling places in the city open. This is only for city voters. Why are we having this election? Be honest with you, I'm not sure. The ETJ issue, what initially caused the petition, was resolved in the recently ended legislative session, I believe. Why am I here? I was involved in the campaign in 1986 when we changed to city manager. I believed then, and I believe now, that your city government is only as good as the people you elect. At that time, we had a good mayor. Jim Randall was our mayor at that time. Tom Ellsworth, the previous mayor, was a good, strong mayor. But we also had elected some bad apples as aldermen, and they were taking undue advantage of their positions. They voted themselves to the highest salary of any alderman in the state, with full city benefits and pensions, and some of them were just plain crooked. I maybe shouldn't say this, but I know it's been suggested that they were all Democrats, but I don't think that that's the case. In 1986, actually, if you all remember your history, Garland County was pretty strongly Republican. We had gone for President Reagan. We had gone, oh, no kidding, wait a minute, I'll get off of that. Oh, you just made that up, didn't you? Because I was saying something. And Congressman Hammersmith. This group of aldermen had extended water lines that far outside the city limits. They'd misappropriated some pension funds from the city task force reported that last year. We had sexually oriented businesses in the downtown area. As historic district was crumbling, the Interior Department was threatening to take away our status as a national park, and tourists were staying away in droves. I guess I should skip to the end. Why should you vote against this proposed change? The most obvious reason is money. Added up, this election is going to cost about $20,000. Buying out the city manager's contract is going to cost $125,000 to $150,000. The special election for a new administration is going to cost over $20,000. A salary for a mayor, if you're going to run a $95 million business, it's estimated you'll get paid $70,000 for that. Aldermen's salaries will be around $60,000 a year plus benefits. City administrator, which may be required, would be another $100,000 plus. So almost $300,000 per year plus benefits in new expense. To me, that sounds like several policemen or firemen.
Okay, now speaking for the proposal will be George Pritchett. You will have an extra voice.
Well, all of you know me, most of you have heard me, and some of you dislike me immensely. Truthfully, the reason we're having this election is because we live in a free country, and we have the right as citizens to call for elections and to call for changes in our government. And that's a wonderful right that I hope we never give up. I want to remind you that in the city manager form of government, we have had at least one recall, so corruption shouldn't be an issue in this. How we got to where we are, people, whatever, 26 years ago, I don't know. Salaries, I don't think we're going to pay the highest salaries in the state of Arkansas, but any salary that we set today or talk about is speculatively in nature, all right? So we don't really know. When the city ventured out in the water area, I think he made a good point. I'm not sure they made a good decision or a bad decision, but we're where we are today. It started on the basis of the ETJ. The state settled some of that, and to my satisfaction, they did not settle it at all. I think the city should get about a half an inch, and then the judge back there should be the guy that calls the shots out there. Restore accountability. Clay Herman put this together. There's no organization, there's not a committee, there's not anybody behind us. I don't know, Clay's probably got a couple hundred in it. Another gentleman back there who's got a little money and help, and I got $40 in it, folks, plus me. City manager form of government in Arkansas is starting to look like an idea whose time has come, whose time has come and gone. Loses its shine now with the Arkansas Times back in 07. 15 cities adopted it. Today, we're down to 5 that have retained it. That tells you something. We don't have to do all the work. We went through the larger cities that still does, and some have combinations. I just dismiss the corruption factor and the fact that we have many good aldermen. I didn't live here at the time, but I've been told stories about Spargo. I've been told stories about Bill Edwards, who served in both, and I've also been told stories about Bob Wheeler that will make you cry and how he felt about the city. We're going to have a volunteer board when it's all done. They volunteer to run, and we're going to pay them. That's all right. We pay our JPs. It works pretty good. They don't overspend. They take care of the county, and they don't have any debt consequence. And the debt they have is serviced every year. They're not paying interest only. And we do not have a budget that's out of control, and we don't keep growing things when we can't afford it. Transparency in government, it's going to be just as transparent. Our newspaper, this group right here, the Tea Party, his party, the Democratic Party, they're not going to let these people do what they did way back when. There will always be bad apples. If you get a bushel and you got a bad one in it, you're going to lose a bushel pretty quick. But at the end of the day, it's a different time. And I do think the time for the city manager is come and gone, because I want a mayor that is answerable to the people, and I want aldermen that we can elect, and we have more aldermen, and we have more representation. Unprecedented growth, contradicted by the census. Look at our sales tax revenue. grew from somewhere around 10 point something to 11 point something from 2005. Now, how much growth is that, folks? Divided out by 7 years. What's the city manager form of government given us in 26 years? Well, I'll tell you what, we've done nothing with the pensions that they say they inherited, and I don't know because I wasn't here. But I'm going to assume that they were right, that they inherited some pensions that were problems. But we haven't solved them. 26 years! How long does it take? When will you go to work on the problem? You look at that, and then you look at our infrastructure. We're not spending the money we need to spend on our streets, our roads. Somebody said the other day, oh, look what we've done. We've paved Central, and we did Albert Pike. Those are state highways, folks. You know that little out there on the side on Albert Pike that's unpaved right now, hasn't been paved recently? That's the city's portion. We didn't do it, but the state did theirs. And it's a $95 million budget, but let's take that from the enterprise funds and figure out what we're really talking about, because if we change government tomorrow, the enterprise funds will be virtually the same, the wastewater, the water, the sewer. Not going to make any difference. Then we come down to $22 million in the 2012 budget. And we send off about 12 of that to the police and fire. Now we got 9. So we got these people we're paying, and they're managing that $9 million and overseeing the other. And David Watkins is a great man. I like David. I'd like to hire David if I had a company. I think he's a very qualified man. But I don't think the form of government is going to change. 26 years of crumbling infrastructure and debt. And you know what's worse? No plan. No plan to solve these problems. If you went today and said, I'm going to solve these problems, we've got about $60 to $100 million in infrastructure things that you can go down to the city and get the reports, and it'll tell you what we need here, 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 and here. 6 minutes doesn't allow me to break them out. But if you go through them, you need about $85 million. Let's grow retail sales. And that's admirable. But you'd have to have $6.7 billion in additional retail sales at the sales rate, at the sales tax rate of 0.015 we have in the city today. So we're not getting there, and we're not going to get there. We don't have any answers, but we sure got a good form of government is what we're told, and we're progressing. Where's the growth? Where's the money? When are we going to solve the problems with the infrastructure? Now, to be fair, I don't know how the new guys are going to solve it either. I really don't. But change may bring us some improvements. When we elected all these Republicans a couple of years ago, we were looking for change, and we got a lot of change. So I believe that we went to this new form of government, we changed things, we have the opportunity to begin working on them, because they didn't work on that debt on those pension programs for 26 years. They talked about it, they jawboned it, but they haven't solved it. And that system of government that I'm talking about to go to is one very similar to the structure that we have in the county. I'd like to see us in the city come to a point that we couldn't spend all our money, that we could set some aside so that we had some reserves. We had to reduce the reserves at the end of 2012 to balance the 2013 budget. That's sad. Thank you.
If you want to stay close for questions in case there are any. Do we have questions from the audience for, again, I'm going to allow both to respond to any questions. Yes, sir, Mr. Hoffman.
For George.
Okay, now I'm going to let us both respond, but go ahead.
Okay, on the mayoral alderman form of government, didn't you say that you thought that it would actually be more responsive directly to the people, and if people weren't satisfied with that kind of government, they probably would change it more easily?
That is one of the, that's what the proponents of some of the other cities in Arkansas and around the country have said. They've said we don't think the city manager form is responsive. So yes, I think from what I've read and what I've researched, until we have our own system, we will know. But I think it will be. I want to remind everybody that when Mayor Kearney was elected, she went down there and she asked for an office, and man, they fought her every inch of the way. They didn't want her to be a strong mayor. They didn't want her to be real strong. Now, she's done a great job getting to the point that she communicates well with them and they recognize her and respect her. But this form of government, the mayor is a baby kisser, backslapper, it's a handshake.
Kirby, would you like to respond?
Well, that much of a response. I'd ask Mr. McKay, and I'd ask Mayor Carney and the other elected officials that are here, do you feel like you're responsive? Do you feel like the people are communicating with you? Can they communicate with you adequately? I believe that the system we have is working, and I don't see why we would do something as disruptive as this, because I'm sorry, George, that you weren't here in 1986, but if you can't see the difference between Hot Springs in 1986 and 2012, you're ignoring an awful lot of obvious progress. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that our city receives stability in our city government.
Do we have other questions? Well, I can't come to you, but if you'll stand up and if you want to turn so everyone can hear your question, that would be great. Yeah.
I was in business under both of the administrative type offices, and under the mayor alderman system, it was very unfriendly, it was very uncooperative with the business. They couldn't care less what you wanted. They had their agenda, and I went to the city board meeting a couple of times to ask for reconsideration of some of the things that we're going to do, like take down the awnings and take down the tent signs and everything. And I was told, Mr. Lewin, the signs are gone, thank you. And that was it. They wouldn't even hear me because the mayor already knew what I was going to say. Under this new administration, that we finally got a good mayor, you know. We got rid of the permanent problems on the board. We finally got to where the board is responsive to the people, where it does what's best for the community. And now that we are starting to get a change, this is not the time to be changing. Now, in another 5 or 6 years, if things get worse, fine. But the thing is, since the new board, since the new system took over, we got our streets downtown repaired, we got the buildings fixed up. You know, there's a lot of things that happened downtown that was business friendly. And this new board is responsive to the people. Whereas the mayor, alderman, the mayor is in charge. He runs it. And what you people want doesn't make any difference if the mayor gets his marching order. He should never give me a mic. Wherever the mayor gets his marching order from, that's what he's going to do, and he's not going to work for you. And so we know all the things that aren't done yet, but I can tell you, we have a lot of things that were done, and that is new home government.
I'm not sure I need it. You know, Dan speaks some very good things. I'm saying that in 26 years, I'm concerned about the finances of the city. They are not sound. We need money. Y'all want tax increases? We're going to have it. Or we're going to have to do something. Or we're going to have to cut expenses. There is never really an effort to cut expenses in the city of Hot Springs. I've been here 10 years and I haven't seen one yet. Now, we still have, I didn't mention sexually oriented businesses downtown. At least the last time I checked, strip karaoke probably qualifies. And if you go to Craigslist, allegedly there's a house of ill favor downtown under the guise of another business. Now, I don't know that it's true because I've never been in either one. I just want to make that clear. But we have a mayor that's responsive, and I'm not attacking Director McKay because I think he is responsive. I'm not saying our people aren't. I'm saying this is a better form of government today. Today, this is a better form of government, and other cities have gone back to it because they had some of the same kind of problems the city of Hot Springs has. Our government, again, is going to be responsive. The new mayor is going to be responsive. If Mayor Carney was elected in a strong mayor form of government, she would be responsive. How could she be more responsive than she is today? Director McCabe will return your phone calls, but I guarantee you your new alderman will return your phone calls for the most part. And if we have bad apples, we'll weed them out in a couple of years.
Would you care to make a response?
The only thing I'd say is, I don't know Mr. Levin, but thank you. I couldn't have said it better myself. As far as and this is, I think, kind of a trivial point, but as far as the sexually oriented businesses are concerned, the ones I'm talking about, we're in the 1 and 200 block of Central Avenue in Florida. The one you're talking about is not even in the historic district, and I wish it wasn't there too. It is there, it's been there for a long time. The main point that I would make is that this is something that would be so disruptive. I work pretty closely with the people up at the Chamber of Commerce, and I get to hear a lot about businesses and employers that are looking at relocating to Garland County. And I know, personally know of at least 2 that have said, we're going to wait and see if your city government is stable before we make a decision. We don't need that out there. We don't need those kind of people that are looking to bring employment into our county to be having those thoughts.
I think we have time. Are you going to, maybe one more question? I hate to cut people off. Mr. Randall, would you have a question? I'll leave this to the chair. How long to?
If it's a question.
A question, okay. Yeah, this is fun. I like this sign.
How long did you say? I'd like to talk on this for quite a few minutes, but I know the time is limited. I think I'll just pose one question, and that is this. If you had a business corporation that had a $95 million annual budget, would you ask for someone from the general public to be selected and elected by popular vote without any credentials or any ability that you know about, just because popular vote, to run that $95 million business? I think not. The city, and I'm sorry, I disagree wholeheartedly with the fact that the city government today has not progressed and is not doing a very wonderful job for the city of Hot Springs. This city has progressed over the past 26 years. 1 minute. Okay. I am the last administrative mayor that Hot Springs had, and I was very much in favor of changing the government over. As a matter of fact, I formed the steering committee for the campaign to change the government over, because there are lots of problems with mayor's council form of government, and you people that haven't been involved in city government probably will not understand it, because there's just too much back there that you don't know about in running the city, and that's why we need a professional. And we've had several good city managers, and the city manager that we have now is really well qualified and has great credentials, and will do us a good job from now on. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to let offer if they wish to add any quick closing comment, and then I'm going to, I'm sure each of these gentlemen would be very happy to, are you able to stick around? Are you able to stick around? If you'd like to visit with them afterwards, I hate to cut it off, but I guess I am. Okay. So I appreciate it, and I just want to add a closing comment that this is good. This is what our system is about, where people can come together, discuss issues in a polite, courteous manner, and it's not personal, and it's a good discussion, and I appreciate that about this group. I really do. Thank you. Sorry. Well, brief.
I just want to make a brief closing comment. American Motors was run by some professional manager. Where are they today? Steve Jobs and Microsoft and Apple, they were run by people that didn't graduate from college. They're people that were great men, and they did a lot for our country. We shuffle the White House every 4 years. We shuffle Senate seats every 2 years. We shuffle everything all the time. Our society is about shuffling. Now, lots of cities have gone back to this form of government. Would it work for us? I believe so. Will we ever know? Not if we don't try. Judge Davis, construction man, he's running our county. Our county is a big thing. You know, we got more people in the county that we're covering and he's administering to than just the city. You know, he's got 60-some thousand up there. We got 35. And his area is growing, by the way, just so that you all know that. And ours has the same population we had 30 years ago. Thank you.
Kirby, would you like to make any closing?
Since you gave me the opening, I'd like to do a little bit of closing I didn't get to do.
Okay.
Because I'm talking too slow. I've got it couched as 3 questions, okay? Question number 1, why provide a breeding ground for failure by going back to a system that we know didn't work here? Number 2, why do we want to create a self-inflicted wound with divisive political races, disruption of city services, unnecessary expense, and the appearance to potential new employers that our city is unstable? And finally, why do we want to do away with one of the best qualified city boards we've ever had and replace it with an unknown? I've not seen such a good slate of candidates for city director in the whole time that we've had this forum. Mr. McGrew, Dr. Sternberg, Mr. Wilkins, the folks that didn't get elected. Like I said, it was such a high-quality group. We couldn't make any bad choices in those elections. And then the final thing that I would say is I hope those of you who are city voters will join us in voting for Hot Springs by voting against this measure. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Let's show our appreciation